Good morning, children. Today we will study about the next three important rulers that are the Jahangir, Shah Jahan, and Aurangzeb. We have studied already about the Babur, Humayun, and Akbar. Now, after the death of before the death of Akbar itself, his own son Prince Salim, who was known as Jahangir in future, and he revolted against him. He was also against him. So that Jahangir's period starts in Jahangir's rule starts from 1605 to 1627. That is the period of Jahangir. So military campaigns started by Akbar, whatever also continued by Jahangir. Military campaigns, whatever the Akbar, his Jahangir's father started, that all continued by Jahangir. The Shishodia ruler of Mewar, Amar Singh, accepted the Mughal service. Already we have studied that Shishodia rulers of Rajput's rulers had fought against the Mughal rule. Here also we can find Jahangir captured the ruler of the region of Mewar, that is the Shishodia, the ruler of Mewar. Amar Singh, he accepted the Mughal service also. He was led successful campaigns against the Sikhs, the Ahoms, and Ahmednagar also followed. So whatever the campaigns, military campaigns started by Akbar was continued by Jahangir. We know that same like how Prince Salim or Jahangir revolted against Akbar. Here also we can find the Prince Khurram. He was the son of Jahangir, the future emperor. He was known as Shah Jahan. So Prince Khurram also rebelled in the last years of his reign. So when Jahangir's son Prince Khurram also was against Jahangir, he also revolted against his own father, or the Mughal emperor Jahangir. Then Prince Khurram was later known as Shah Jahan. The efforts of Noor Jahan, Jahangir's wife, and to marginalize him were successful. So Noor Jahan was the wife of Jahangir. She wanted to reduce the power of Prince Khurram, but she was also unsuccessful. So that Shah Jahan becomes the ruler of Delhi, or Mughal emperor, in 1627, and his period is up to 1658. So Shah Jahan becomes the ruler of Mughal empire. The Mughal campaigns continued in the Deccan under Shah Jahan. The South India or the Deccan regions were captured by Shah Jahan. We can find the Afghan nobles or the rich peoples or the landlords or noble people. Khan Jahan Lodi, he rebelled and against Shah Jahan. The Afghan noble Khan Jahan Lodi rebelled against Shah Jahan, but he was defeated. Campaigns were launched against Ahmednagar in south. The Bundelas also were defeated and Orcha seized. So Shah Jahan's campaign again continued. Ahmednagar, Bundelas, they were all defeated by Shah Jahan, and also he captured Orcha. In the northwest, when we are moving towards the northwest, the campaigns to seize Balkh from the Uzbeks in the Uzbekistan region now, Balkh from the Uzbeks was unsuccessful. So that he could not capture these regions, but also Kandahar. We know that Akbar captured Kandahar in Afghanistan region. So this was also lost to Safavids. During the period of Shah Jahan, the Kandahar was lost to the Safavids, and also his campaign against Balkh in Uzbeks also was unsuccessful. In 1632, Ahmednagar was finally annexed, and the Bijapur forces sued for peace also. In Deccan region, Ahmednagar was annexed, but Bijapur also was ready for an agreement of a peace agreement made with Shah Jahan. In 1657 to 1658, there was conflict over succession again amongst the Shah Jahan's sons. There were many sons Shah Jahan had. These all sons were fighting each other, so that everyone wanted to gain power to become the ruler after Shah Jahan. Here, all brothers fought together, but Shah Jahan's sons, among his sons, Aurangzeb was victorious, and his three brothers, including Dara Sukho, were killed. Aurangzeb was the powerful son of Shah Jahan. He killed other brothers, and also Shah Jahan was father, or Shah Jahan was imprisoned for the rest of his life in Agra. We have studied about Shah Jahan's story, that he constructed the Taj Mahal, etc. In the coming classes we are going to study more about them. And Shah Jahan's sons all were killed by his own son Aurangzeb, and he captured power. He imprisoned or put his own father in jail for the rest of his life in Agra. And next ruler now Aurangzeb. After Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb becomes the ruler in 1658 up to 1707. Aurangzeb was ruling the Mughal Empire from 1658 to 1707. In the northeast, the Ahoms, now we can find in the present day Assam region. Ahoms were defeated in 1663 but rebelled again in 1680. Okay, so Ahoms were defeated in 1663 but they rebelled against the Mughal Emperor in 1680s. Campaigns in the northwest against the Yusufzai and the Sikhs were temporarily successful. Mughal intervention in the succession and internal politics of Rathore Rajputs of Marwar led to their rebellion. So we can find out here many of the Rajput kingdoms also were under the control of Mughal rule here. Now we can find here the interventions of Mughal emperors on internal politics of the Rathore Rajputs of Marwar led to their rebellion. So that campaigns against the Maratha chieftain Shivaji were also initially successful. But Aurangzeb, when the Aurangzeb had military campaign against the Maratha Empire in south, in the beginning stage or initially they were successful, but the Marathas wanted to make peace. They wanted to sue peace with the Mughal Emperor. When Mughal chieftain or the Mughal chieftain, also the Aurangzeb wanted to make peaceful agreement with the Marathas also. Marathas were ready and they agreed. When the Maratha ruler Shivaji came to meet Aurangzeb. So in Delhi, Aurangzeb insulted Shivaji and also imprisoned him. When Maratha ruler Shivaji came to meet Aurangzeb, Aurangzeb insulted him and imprisoned him. But he escaped from Agra. From Shivaji later on escaped from the Agra or from the jail. So again he continued, declared himself an independent king and resumed the campaigns against the Mughals. When Shivaji Maharaj escaped from Agra and came back to his kingdom, he started again battle against Aurangzeb. So here also we come to know that Prince Akbar rebelled against Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb's own son Prince Akbar also was against Aurangzeb and received support from the Marathas and the Deccan Sultanate also. Aurangzeb's son Akbar, Prince Akbar got the support from the Marathas and also the Deccan Sultanate. He finally fled to Safavid Khan. So after the Akbar's rebellion, Aurangzeb sent armies against the Deccan Sultanates. So when his own son was against him with the support of Deccan rulers, and Aurangzeb sent army against the Deccan Sultans. Bijapur was annexed in 1685 and Golconda in 1687. These were the Deccan Sultanate, and Bijapur and Golconda both were annexed to the Mughal Empire. So from 1698, Aurangzeb personally managed campaigns in the Deccan against the Marathas, who started guerrilla warfare. So here Aurangzeb again now he is attacking or military campaign he started towards the Marathas, but they had such a kind of warfare, guerrilla warfare, that is a kind of battle fights generally followed in the hilly regions, wherever the kingdoms exist in the hilly regions, that we will study in the coming classes about the guerrilla warfare of Marathas. Aurangzeb also had to face the rebellion in North India of the Sikhs, Jats and Satnamis. So Aurangzeb's period was completely complicated, and during that period North India, Sikhs, Jats and Satnamis also revolted against Aurangzeb. In the northeast of the Ahoms and in the Deccan of the Marathas. So that large number all around his kingdom he had enemies. In the northeast the Ahoms, and in south Deccan and Marathas in the Deccan, all these were against Akbar. So his death was followed by succession conflict among his own sons. After the death of Aurangzeb, his own sons all fought together in order to succeed or become the Mughal emperors. So that are Mughal emperor. So that is what about we have studied about the different rulers. In the coming classes we will study more about how the Mughal administration taking place.